we started doing wildlife radio a couple of years ago. The idea being that radio production is extremely cheap compared with video production or film production. Also, it's pretty well known, I think, that about 90% of the people in the world, if they get world news and world information, get it from radio. So radio is still a big thing, even if you don't happen to listen to it. I've got probably anybody in the university area in Missoula, I think, listens like I do, leaves KUFM on 24 hours a day, except these people who listen to this organized noise that is produced in recent years. They call it music, but I can't bow that low. But radio can not only reach every single corner of the world, but radio is a marvelous way to target people. If you just think about it a minute, people that use the radio to go to sleep long about 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. People who use the radio to wake up in the morning. The truck driver, the commuter, an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. And radio is portable, a lot more portable than television, at least at this point. The guy in the combine, if you think about it, there's all sorts of target audiences out there that you can use, that you can connect with radio, that you can't with television. Well, I'm sure that would be of interest to sponsors who want to sell a particular product to a particular kind of public. The night watchman type people thing. There's all sorts of target radio audiences out there. Number two. The first one is the radio is cheap to produce. Second is you can target your audience. A third thing I think should be really important to wildlife filmmakers is that it's a way you can test your market. If you've got a particular film that you want to target a certain audience, why not make a radio version and see if it'll work? You want to target inner city, you want to target ethnic, you want to target schools. Try it out with radio, and I think if we did enough of that, it'd give you some guidelines, and before you sunk your last 80,000 in a film, you could test that market. Native people market, I don't know. KUFM carries Native American News, or whatever they call it. Produced in Alaska by a gal that used to go to school here. She's from eastern Montana. She's now in Juneau, I think, and does national Native people radio. What? National Native News, yeah. Yeah? Added on to hers? Or what? But so far as I know, I can't brag about a single drop of Indian blood, but I'll listen to that every day. It's fun to listen to. But I'm sure there's a marvelous target audience there. I'll bet anything. If you had a product that you wanted to sell to that kind of an audience. So we think radio is really important, and it's neglected. So in the last couple of months, in the last couple of years, we've been kicking the idea around. We've developed the concept of doing productions with. There's a brand new student radio here, and with KUFM, we've met with radio people in town. There's quite a few people in town who are quite anxious to get into that, and Matt's been working on this a lot because he's worked in radio, and if you want to finish it off, Matt, before we start, the main part of it is going to be Kathy Turco and Janet Urban, California, Fairbanks, and they're going to do the bulk of the workshop. We wanted to have student radio here, but I don't think they're making it. Again, a captive audience. 11,000 students listen to KBGA. So, Matt, you want to tell about some of the additional things we're doing lately?
Yeah, I can tell you real quickly. Right now, we're in a position where we have KFM radio in town here, and we also have KBGA, which is a student radio station. So that's what we're looking at, is possibly getting different departments, such as possibly the philosophy department, environmental studies, biology department. We get groups of people together and we start doing productions on various shows, which anything from biological research to more essays, all the Leopold readings, kind of editorials. One of our ideas eventually was to get an open line where we have 10 biologists, say, from around the world, and people can call in with questions relating to almost any animal or almost any topic of any ecosystem. And we're not, the ideas are almost, there's a whole open niche that's just a whole open market that I think we have a great opportunity here in Missoula to
Well, we've got the interest and we've got the capability here. We're going to give it a try. We've been kicking around all the different kinds of shows that maybe could be produced, including wildlife news, the student radio is quite interested in this. They're looking for some variety of good guinea pig to try some of the ideas out. Our ultimate goal is 24 hours a day worldwide wildlife radio, and if people who wanted it could find it. I know it's pretty long dream, but I think it's like a plum on a tree, and I think that it's going to go places.
Yeah, one more thing too. The opportunity we do have here is we are going to be allowed probably to use the production facilities up at it's completely digital up on campus, and of course we have the college with all the input from all the professors and everyone else. So
another thing we're already started on is getting an inventory, finding out what is out there. A guy called the other day. I don't know. Somehow Matt got in contact with him. He puts out a thing called Spirit of the Wild, I believe it is, from Connecticut.
Yeah.
He said, "Haven't you heard it?" No. Well, he looked at his list. He said, "Oh, Montana is not on our list." So I told him, "We'll help you get it here." So we want to inventory what is out there and start building a library of it, especially the timeless stuff. So, okay.
Sounds good.
Unless there's any questions or comments on that part of it, I'll turn it over to Janet and Kathy.
Well, I guess I'm going to start off. This is going to be the practical workshop. I've got an HHD time code DAT here. This is probably the most popular DAT machine that you'll find out on location recording. It handles the moisture very well, humidity, and heat, as well as the color. And I've got the stereo set up here, a directional mic, and a bidirectional microphone. And machine here. Okay, this is the directional part of the microphone. Here's the side part, and this is called MS stereo. Do you want to say something, Cindy?
Hello, Janet. How you doing?
That's about the distance. For people, it's probably about 4 feet away is probably your limitation. But for ambiances, this is a great way to go. And then you need a matrix box that will allow you to adjust how wide you want the audio to be from way out here to a pattern that's more close. So that's what a matrix box does. The sound mixer can do that in the field, or they can do that in post. And I prefer to have them do it in post so that they have the maximum flexibility that they need. So this is a Zeppelin. When I record, I usually have the mic on a boom pole, and I put the pole firmly on the ground and then just hold it so that if I try to hold it like this and I've got a quiet ambience, you'll hear my creaking of my joints and every little shift. But if I've got it on a pole, then I could just barely touch it, and I can get some really nice sound that way. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside here. The Zeppelin is for wind protection, and I've recorded wind, which is one of the hardest things to record. And when you're recording wind, you need the maximum protection, which is this wind jammer, a furry wind jammer on the outside, and this one. And then you need to have a foamy on your mics on the inside of the Zeppelin. Because even a small little gust inside of the Zeppelin will also See, that's how that works. Mounted on top of each other. Yeah, this is Sennheiser MKH60 and the MKH30. And before I forget, I've brought along the sound catalog for Location Sound, which is based in LA. All the mics are listed in here. Everything that you'd ever need to buy is listed in here, and you can call them and they'll send you a free catalog. So this is a great source to learn about sound, and that's where I learned a lot about sound when I started.
That work here are really, really good. If you only have a certain amount of money and you explain to them what it is you want, they're excellent. They'll should be the best. What's the name of it again, that catalog?
Location Sound, and their phone number is, I can give you the phone number right now if you want it. It's 818-980-9891. Yeah, they're great. That's 818-980-9891. Now I've got a different microphone here. This is a Shep's microphone. And see this silver mic? This is used for feature films. This is probably the nicest sounding microphone available, but the only problem with this microphone is that it's very sensitive in the cap. It tends to be very, has a problem with humidity. You get a lot of crackling with it. So it's more for indoor use, but it is a beautiful sounding microphone. And see, the shorter the microphone, the wider the pattern. See, this is a short mic. This is a longer mic. And how it gets more reach is because it's got interference tubes which cancel out the sound coming in from the side. I also have a 816, which is a mic that's about this long, and that's the most directional mic that you can get, other than a saddle or a dish, which I don't like the sound of. But that is the mic that I would use for birds. And just to talk a little bit more about stereo is that other than doing it MS, you can do XY, which is taking two microphones which with wide patterns like this one and putting them at an angle like this. Or you can take two directional mics and point them so the capsules are like this. That's ORTF. But the kind of sound that I really seem to always do is not even the MS, it's taking two directional mics and pointing it at the subject. Because I find that the sound, other than my ambiances, the sound I'm trying to get is out there. It's not happening right around me, it's out there. So when I have two directional mics, I put them about a foot across, not any wider because you don't want to have a hole in the middle, and point it right at the subject. And then I get great sound coming left to right, right to left, and it's the most, it's the best sound for something that's a bit further away. This thing here is to protect your microphones from rain noise and from getting wet. And this is called hog's hair, and you can get this at Location Sound. And I did a documentary up in Alaska for 3 weeks, and it rained every day. And this baby got soaked, and so did my mics, but it still performed really good, and it's the best thing for rain. And it just hits this and kind of drips off of it. Hog's hair. You really don't notice them much at all. It's really good. It's much better than just if they hit the Zeppelin. You'll hear boom, 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 boom. Okay. One thing I wanted to also describe here was that I've got these two mics coming into one cable, see, not two. And I have this wired so that each mic goes into a 5-pin. This cable is wired for 5-pin, and then it breaks back out at the mixer, see. So this is pretty neat setup here. Let's see. I can power the microphones either using my HHB, which requires 48 volts, or I can use this power supply. Whenever I go out on a job, I have at least one extra one, and that's real important. And then extra batteries, too, is really important. And I always have this waist belt with me that I carry stuff in. I always have a flashlight and pens, microphones, rubber bands. Let's see, what else here? Okay, radio mics. I use Electrosonics UHF radio microphones. These are really the best that you can buy. And they cost around $2,300 for the transmitter and the receiver, but they work so good. And we're going to do a demonstration for you so that you can see how good they sound. And Kathy's going to take here's the transmitter. And I've got two microphones here, but she's just going to use one. And she's going to go outside and try to find a converter. So make sure you talk this on the way up.
Talking now. Okay, here we go. We're outside, and I'm gonna try to look for some birds, but here's a biker right here. I've got a microphone here, so I don't know if you want to say hi.
Hi.
Is that your daughter?
Yeah.
Hi. You're shy. Okay. We're gonna go by these guys, and I'm out in the parking lot. I'm not seeing any birds, but maybe we can I'll see if I can use my instinct to tell where they might be, since this is what I'm supposed to do as a living. And we're going past the entrance to the Red Lion and in the parking lot, and I think I hear a little bird somewhere around here. Maybe it's the same one Janet was after when she was out. So you can hear my footsteps probably. You can hear that. Some people, but I'm not finding a bird. And we're coming over by the sign, the Village Motor Inn sign, and I hear a bird. But I think somebody's getting married. On gravel. And I still don't see the bird or hear him anymore. Through the cars. And let's see, I'm at the other end of the parking lot now. No birds. We're in the city. Maybe I should take a...
plastic bags, small ones and big ones, for putting the tapes in, for putting batteries in, just always need tons of that on those things. Rubber bands, small ones and bigger ones, and windscreens, extra windscreens for the microphones and for the little microphones, because those always seem to get lost. I bring condoms, and the reason why is when I do stuff out in the rain, you cover the microphones with condoms so that the rain doesn't hit the microphone. And then you never know when you want to do underwater stuff, so you can always take a lavalier, which is a little microphone, and put a condom on it, and twist the condom, tape it around the base all the way down the length of the cable, and then I tape a weight on there, whatever I can find, like a bolt or something that's got some weight, and I tape that onto the microphone so that it'll drop into the water. And I recorded penguins splashing in the water and walking around and stuff like that. But then I've used a hydrophone, which is a real underwater microphone, when I did the piranha documentary. And it was a good thing because the piranha... Hi! Yeah, we did, but we turned you off after a while because it was too long. But the piranha they were attacking the microphone, so I needed a real hydrophone for that. Anyway, back to I bring rip ties. These are the handiest things that you can have with you, and they make them in all different sizes, long, big sizes as well, that I've used just to hold stuff together where rubber bands won't do the trick. Swiss Army knife always. Headlamp. You know, one of those headlamps you can get in camping stores. That is the best to use when it's evening or when I go out at night recording and you can't have an extra hand free. For DAT machine, it's very important to make sure that you don't get condensation on your heads. If that happens, you'd be out there at 5 in the morning and your DAT machine won't work and there's nothing that you can do about it. So I bring a little torch. Well, I bring a hair dryer if I'm going to be in a place where there's a generator. But then I also bring a torch that I got at the marine shop that provides a blast of really hot air, and it works on butane. And I just kind of very carefully bring it across my heads, and it evaporates the moisture, and then I'm ready to go. So that's a tip that I think is pretty valuable. If you're not, yeah, go ahead.
Like in archery, I use hand warmers for stuff like that. Would hand warmer work for that?
No, I brought all that stuff with me. I brought hand warmers. I brought those little long things that you can put them on fire or you light them and put them on. It's not enough heat. You need something that's pretty hot. So that was the best thing. Shorty cables. You always need shorty cables just end up needing them. And then stretchy cables are really great. You end up using these all the time. As far as powering stuff, I use lead acid batteries. I don't like NiCads because you got to bring them all the way down and then all the way up. I'll just use my thing here. 1, 2. 1, 2. Well, can I just use this one? Trying to record this. Okay, well that means I can't. And you can't record me like this? Okay. No, we'll just do that. Okay. Where was I? Batteries. Oh, yeah. So lead acid, I think, is one of the best ways to go with that. And oh yeah, so if you're doing stuff up in the Arctic, the lead acid and the NiCads won't work very well. So then you should have lithium batteries. And Grab It in Massachusetts sells these great lithium batteries, and they're really lightweight too. So if you need that phone number, just come and see me afterwards. Then I had the same guy that sells these lithium batteries also makes the solar panel that charges a battery charger, which will charge these lead acid batteries. And it's about this big, and it can fold down, and it's really great because you never know when you're going to be next to a generator again. So the same guy does that, and that's a great thing. Okay, I want to talk about DATs because everybody's recording on DAT these days, but I still think that Nagra with the Dolby Noise Reduction module sounds even better. But it's very heavy, and it's not good for location work. But for mixing a feature, you can't beat the Nagra, I don't think. But as far as DATs go, the HHB I think is the best for doing location work because it's small and it's very hardy, and it's just, I have never had a problem with it. And then I use my little DATman D7. This is what I use to do the Patagonia, ABC Kane Patagonia documentary. And this is great. I used like 8 different microphones with this and my mixer. And this has got the same quality as the HHB. It's 48K sampling rate and 16-bit. So it's the same quality. It's just that this is a consumer model and this is a professional model. And this one will let me do timecode, which I do a lot of sync sound, so I need to have timecode. But this is great for sound effects and for just ambiances. One thing that you need to think about when you're doing DAT is always fast forward your tape and then rewind it and then start recording, because that tape gets jostled in the box and it gets jostled so that if you just stick it right into your DAT and hit record, you can get dropouts. And I've had that happen. So now I always fast forward all the way to the end of the tape and then rewind it, and then it rewinds right back and it's ready to go, and you won't have the dropout problems, although you still could because it's bad tape, but at least you're really reducing that from happening. Let's see. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. I wanted to talk about working. Okay, I guess I kind of covered this. For underwater sound, also you want to take your microphone and have a bungee cable connected to, I use a fish pole like this one, and then I have the bungee connected to that fish pole, and it so that as the currents in the ocean or the water move my microphone around, it's the bungee that's taking the stretch, not the cable being pulled. And if the cable is being whipped back and forth, then that's going to pick up. So that's how you do that. Yeah, okay. Oh, and for heat and humidity, you don't want to bring the DAT machine or anything into air conditioning and then back outside again, because you'll get condensation. Just leave it outside or leave it, inside. If you're working in the cold, same thing. Leave it outside overnight. Don't bring it inside. Otherwise, you'll have problems unless you have ample time for it to come up to room temperature. I always bring desiccant, lots of desiccant, which takes moisture out of stuff. And I always use Pelican cases, so at the end of every evening I put the equipment back in the Pelican case with desiccant so it's nice and dry. And then of course I have that torch in case I have any condensation problems. When you're working in the cold, you want to use a stretchy cable like this, see, to your battery, and then you wear your battery next to your body so that the battery stays warm. It'll last a lot longer. Otherwise, it won't last very long at all. And when you're doing stuff in the wind, of course, you need to have really good wind protection on your microphones, which I already went over. But still, even with that, you can still have lots of problems because the wind is just too strong sometimes. So you want to find a place where you're protected from the wind, and it's got to be something that's not going to squeak a lot, like a car will squeak or a lot of fences will squeak. So, that's what you got to think about. And then if you're recording a person, you want to have the wind to their back, of course. And try to hide the microphone underneath their clothes without making it sound muffled. That's all I had. And unless people have questions about sync sound, I can talk about that, but I don't really think that many people do sync sound that much here.
What's that small consumer little unit you have your hand on?
This is a Sony DATman D7. And I should tell you this. This is my little trick, though. I use this D7 to record sound effects in a lot of these countries I go to, and I just put it inside my little case here, and so all that's sticking out is the remote. And then I wear this hat on my head with these two microphones. They're best sounding little mics you can buy. They're called Sanken COS 11s, and they're $400 each, just the mics. But they are beautiful. They are like the Sheps, a small version of the Sheps. They're that great. And so I just wear them on my head. And my little DAT machine provides 1.5 amps to both of these little cables. And I can just go around and record sound, and nobody knows I'm doing it. And then I sell my sound effects when I'm back from the job, and I can get really nice stuff, and it's all stereo. And the thing is I don't have to carry around big microphones. Before I had all my mics in the stereo and in the Zeppelins, and everybody would crowd up to me and touch my microphones and try to get in my pockets, and now they don't even notice me. So it's really I think the way to go just for ambiances and sound effects.
My 2 box as I need them. I never really kept a huge, like 50 to 100 sitting around. Oh, but actually after they've recorded material onto them, there's a big debate about that. I talk to people at the archives at the university where I live, because they actually record stories of elders that die, and they're worried about the storage of them, and they still feel that really valuable stuff should go on analog and stored on analog. But no one's experimented long enough with that to know. So all the old timers say, stick it on an analog tape regardless. If you go DAT, straight from DAT to analog, you've got you've got the highest quality you can go if you go direct. If you go analog to analog, you're going to lose something there. But my most valuable stuff on DAT, I put it on a couple different DAT machines. And when I go DAT to DAT, there's no loss. So I can have one good recording, and I make a couple copies of it, and I keep that on DAT. And I'm not too worried about it at this point. But there's still an argument about whether DAT's really going to disintegrate over time.
Are they saying about what time that would happen? Is it 2 years,
Oh,
5 years?
yeah, it's quite a few years. I think people have had problems after. It's got to be more than 5. I mean, it's analog. They've kept, they've got recordings from, back in the 40s and stuff that still don't seem to be a problem on analog. So.
One more thing. Is there any one tape that you recommend over another?
The Sony or HHB,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I've
Maybe
had.
one or the other.
I used to use Ampec, and they got